You can't make any money this way.
Have a good time? Any questions about ghosts yet? Okay.
I got nail everything on my upstairs, so
Can anybody
I'm
work?
used to it.
Okay. Some people have that going on. That's the stories. But, I figured that this would be a good place to stop and maybe tell you a little bit about some other ghostly history of Indianapolis. One of the haunted places of Indianapolis, not necessarily downtown, but near downtown, the Central State Asylum. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the United States had a problem with mental institutions that treated patients unfairly. A lot of people were locked up for no good reasons. There was people locked up for addictions to smoking and drinking, people that could easily be treated with simple medications today that were locked up then. There was rich uncles that were locked away by family members, and there was even wives that were locked up by husbands for messing around on them. It was okay for the husbands to do it, but not the wives. They could lock them up at that time. And again, many people that got locked up that should not have. And because of that, patients were often mistreated. Doctors would experiment on patients because they were trying to form new scientific procedures, and if they saw that no family members are really coming to visit a certain patient, they would, start working on maybe some sort of lobotomy experiments with them to see if they could develop something that would advance them, make them a little bit of money or make them more famous. And there was often these cases, because even today at the old Central State Asylum, which was closed in the 1980s, they find occasionally bones will pop up in the middle of the lawn. One of the caretakers who I know was telling me the stories about this. He was the guy that brought us in to do some ghost hunting there. He would say he'd be out mowing the lawn and a bone would start popping up through, and he would ask, hey, what do you want me to do with these bones? And they would say, just dig them up and rebury them. We don't want to know about it. So because of all this patient mistreatment, we have locations like this around the country that became severely haunted because of it. Central State Asylum was one of those places. We went in there in 2003, got in there with one of the maintenance workers, and we had a great night ghost hunting in there. I got a full body, what I would call an apparition or a figure that was in the photograph. This only happened in 15 years, 4 or 5 times where I got a full body manifestation of something that I couldn't explain. Something that wasn't an orb or a mist or something that you could say is possibly explainable. This was very peculiar. During this night also, we had gone down into the basement of the workshop, and I found a single 6-sided die. It was laying next to a bunch of the old remnants of people that had once lived there, and it was all these boxes of stuff. And later that night, as we were in the workshop attic, we found this old sign. This old sign that was up there said, it was like a big cardboard sign that they made up for maybe some game night that they did. Roll a 7 or 11 3 tries. So I had this old 6-sided die. I said, I'll try this and see if something happens. And so I got one of my EMF meters out. An EMF meter stands for electromagnetic field meter. And put it on the floor and began to roll the die twice for each try. And just as I finished rolling the second time around and didn't get anything, I said to the folks that were with me, and there was about another 5 people that were with me in my group, and wouldn't it be funny if I got 7 or 11? Maybe something will happen. As I said that and I rolled a 7, even though this EMF meter had sat there for literally 10-15 minutes, it went off. And as it went off, we could feel the electricity in the air, the hair go up on our arms. It was just like all of a sudden the place was juiced. There was something that was not right in there. And the girl who was across from me was kind of new to ghost hunting. I remember she was looking back and forth between me and this EMF meter, not knowing what to do. I looked at her and said, "Do you have a camera? Take a picture." So she finally took a picture after a minute, after she got a grip of herself. A couple of people in our group literally started running for the elevator when this happened. So that's ghost hunting for you.